Welcome to Capitalize Your Finances, the podcast that's your ultimate guide to mastering personal finances and unlocking the secrets of entrepreneurship. Each week, we dive into the world of personal finance and business development and have fascinating conversations with industry experts, seasoned entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who share their insights, strategies, and stories to help you get ahead in life. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur looking to scale your business or someone just starting out on your financial path, this podcast is your go-to resource for inspiration and actionable insights.
Welcome back to Capitalize Your Finances. As always, I'm your host, Christopher A. Poniotu, certified financial planning professional, the Cap and Capitalize. And on today's episode, I'm going to go over 7 criteria for picking your best place to retire. So this episode goes, this is a shout out to all those that are about to retire or have retired and are in their later years thinking about where they want to make their final dance. But before we get into the meat of this episode, the free advice for the week. Don't ask yourself what's worked for others. Only do what works for you. It's okay to gain information from others, but copying someone verbatim will never work for you in the long run. You have to make it yours. Now let's get into the 7 criteria for picking your best place to retire. And this was actually according to research by MIT's Age Lab, which I found fascinating. So number 1 is mobility. And for those of you that are listening into this that are in your 20s through, really 50s or even 60s, depending on how healthy you are, you would never think of, where do I need to live due to mobility issues? But as you get up there in age, it becomes a factor. And so a couple questions that I want you to think about when it comes to mobility is the community you're looking at designed with age-friendly features? Is there a quality public transportation? What are the sidewalks like? Are they new? Do they need repairs? Are they consistently being repaired? Like the street that my wife and I live on, coincidentally, my brother lives on. These sidewalks have been under repair for years now, and it's very annoying. And thank God that we are all young and able and spry. But if you are listening in and you're not, or your knees hurt, or you're wheelchair bound, that can be a really big deal. Are the street lights properly lit? And the thing that comes to my mind, let's say you want to take a walk in the evenings. Yeah, it's paramount for safety, and you want to make sure you're in a safe and secure environment. And then lastly, how accessible are the public buildings in that community? The second piece of criteria that's worth noting is technology. Highly underrated. So you should be asking yourself, does this community you're looking into have high-speed internet? Believe it or not, that's a big one. What about access to digital literacy courses? So I'm actually going to give a shout out to Apple. And my wife and I actually just got back from Apple. Well, not just got back, probably a month or 2 ago. We got the new iPhone, all that fun stuff. And it's interesting, when you go into Apple, one thing that I've noticed is, one, everyone that's working there, for the most part, genuinely loves what they're doing. Okay. And I say generally because, we don't know what is going through people's minds every day. But every time I've gone out there, these people that have helped me and my wife are very engaged and they're excited. And generally speaking, in the back of Apple stores, they have a screen, like a big screen, and they have an instructor walking through whatever, whether it's your iPhone, MacBook, you name it. And generally speaking, the majority of people in the audience, if you will, and it's not like there's a ton of people, but most of them are older. And occasionally there's a few younger people just trying to figure something out. But it's fascinating to me because I've thought about how valuable that's been, not only to Apple and yes, Apple shareholders and users, but I've started to see that in senior living facilities where, now I'm not saying like Apple comes out, but you've got technology professionals that come out and actually go through workshops, because believe it or not, as you get older, technology moves fast. And if you don't keep up with it, you're going to be left behind. Number 3 is the environment. So does your community you're looking into have great air quality? What's the noise level like during the afternoons or evenings? Are the parks safe? What are the recreational facilities like? It's interesting. A lot of people, and I can just speak from personal experience that we've worked with, they think about moving to place A because they've been there at a specific time of year. But then the remainder of the year, it's not as great as what they would hope. And there's, believe it or not, a lot of regret that sets in. So when you're testing out an environment, make sure that you test it out at different points throughout the year, which actually ties into number 4, which is the climate. So if you're in a community in an area where there's a heightened level of like natural disaster, what will that community do for you being a member of that community? That's something that's it's worth noting. I mean, for those of you that are thinking about moving to Florida, because I know there's a lot of tax favorability, and we have a number of clients in Florida that have moved, not solely because of that, but that can be a big part of it. The huge bummer with that is hurricanes can be just ruthless, especially over these last couple of years. And some communities are very active on being there for their members. Others, you're kind of on your own. So it's worth asking. Another one as far as climate, how does your body respond to really hot or cold environments? I can think of one of my really good friends who's he's actually been on this podcast. His wife has had issues with weather, with cold weather. And so they moved to Arizona for the majority of the year because her body just can't handle the cold, the rainy, the wet. And for you, that's something worth thinking about. I mean, there's a reason why people move to Southern California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. I mean, basically the southern part of the United States. It's because the majority of the year, it's pretty warm. And when it's pretty warm, it's pretty nice on the body. It's pretty nice on the bones. On the flip side, because you got to think about the flip side, hot environments can be brutal. And in some cases, literal hell in summer months. So knowing where to live if you want a snowbird, that's equally paramount. And this also brings up a really important feature for choosing feature in retirement, choosing where your primary residence is going to be. Because wherever your primary residence is, that will affect your income tax, that will affect your estate tax. And so for you really want to talk to a CPA. You could talk to your financial planner about it, but really that's a CPA one that you're going to want to lean on and figure out where you want to land. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to close out the last 3 criteria for picking your best area to live when you retire. So don't go anywhere. Stick around.
Are you ready to transform the way you approach sales? This episode is sponsored by the second book in the Capitalize series, Capitalize Your Sales, the all-in-one sales framework that saves you from ever struggling again and teaches you how to sell with sincerity, which dives deep into the art and science of driving sustainable growth. Packed with strategies that go beyond surface-level techniques, this book will help you understand what it takes to truly connect with clients, build long-term relationships, and close deals. Whether you're looking to fine-tune your sales craft or break through to the next level, Capitalize Your Sales offers a roadmap to success designed for today's fast-paced business world. Head on over to your favorite bookstore, order today, and start capitalizing your sales immediately. And now, back to the episode.
Welcome back from the commercial break. We're going to get right into number 5 in terms of the criteria for picking your best place and area in which you want to retire. Healthcare. Shocker, as you get older, healthcare becomes exponentially more important to think about. And so a couple questions that you need to ask yourself. Does the community you are looking into have an adequate supply of physicians, hospitals, other types of healthcare providers or facilities? If you have a pre-existing condition, like I have Crohn's disease, I've had it my whole life, is there a quality specialist in that community that could help out with your diagnosis and your ailment? One thing to go even further, sure, all the providers might be really good, like the actual staff, but what are the ratings of the hospitals as a whole? And yes, the physicians, things of that nature, but the facilities, because you may have really good medical staff, but the facilities might not be great. And that should tie into it. And lastly, and I would say most important, do these places take your insurance? Fortunately, these insurance companies have caught on. So the odds of you falling into the trap where they don't take your insurance is pretty slim unless you move to the middle of BF nowhere. But I have heard of retirement horror stories, not through my practice, but just through the grapevine, where they move somewhere, they're rocking and rolling, they're loving it, and then the second they have something come up, they realize their insurance isn't taken, and nightmares occur very quickly. So I don't want that to happen to you. Number 6, affordability, which should be pretty common sense, but believe it or not, when you're thinking of your final place to retire, your dream retirement community, I get it. There's a balancing act, but you don't want to blow your entire budget on where you're living, because then you've got to make sure that basically you hit a home run everywhere else financially, meaning you're not getting sick, expenses in other areas of your life are not increasing, which is just simply it's not going to be the case. So a couple questions that you can ask yourself regarding affordability. Does the community you're researching have a favorable cost of living for retirees in retiree-friendly tax policies, which kind of ties into number 4 on this list? Now, if it's not the most affordable, but it's a desired destination that you got to have, God is calling you. What if you want to have a part-time job? How available are part-time jobs in that community? And how much of your insurance covers what could be a large expense? That kind of ties into number 5, but just because your insurance is covered, that doesn't mean it's going to cover a significant and or all of the expenses that you're going to count on insurance for. And then lastly, places to connect. So does the community you're looking into have places other than your home or workplaces where you can go and make new friends? And there could be a variety of different settings you could think of in no particular order: clubs, faith-based organizations, restaurants, cafes, libraries, places you'd like to volunteer. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. If you're going to make this community your permanent home, you want to make sure you are well-rounded in your community. And I've had clients that have decided to live in, I'll just call it community A. And it's because it's the place where, the place where they live, like the actual home, or I always joke the big house, it's fantastic. But after moving into that facility, they realize the surrounding community is severely limited. And really at all ages, this is important to recognize, but especially in your later years. There's a lot of things you don't want to have happen, but the main one is you do not want to be isolated. So that does it for today's episode on 7 criteria for picking your best area and where you want to retire. As always, I'm your host, Christopher A. Paniotu, certified financial planning professional, the Cap and Capitalize. And until next time, keep capitalizing. Take care. As always, thank you for joining me today. If you have questions about today's episode or any personal finance questions, please reach out to me at Cap and Capitalize on Instagram, Chris@capitalizeyourfinances.com, or via our website, capitalizepodcast.com. If you want more Capitalize Your Finances content, head on over to capitalizepodcast.com and check out our blog, free resources, book, and online course. As always, I'm your host, Christopher A. Panayiotou, Certified Financial Planning Professional, The Cap and Capitalize. And until next time, keep capitalizing.
Examples cited are hypothetical, are for illustrative purposes only, are not guaranteed and subject to potential federal and state law amendments. There is no guarantee that you will achieve the results discussed or illustrated. Content in this material is for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Christopher Panayiotou is a registered representative with, and securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. Capitalize Your Finances, LLC is a separate entity from LPL Financial. Capitalize Your Finances is not registered as a broker-dealer or investment advisor. CRPS conferred by College for Financial Planning.